Hello everybody and welcome back to the F122 My Team career mode with me, Dan, and the Slothz Tech team. It's been a few weeks, nearly 3 weeks actually. That's what happens when you try to upload videos daily for F1 2021 and then try to keep it going into F1 22 as well. Absolute burnout. I was not interested in neither playing nor having anything to do with editing or F1 at all, to be honest, after the upload of the last video that went out, which should have been the British Grand Prix. So yes, we're back though, with some bits and bobs flying across on the screen. This video was actually recorded way back right when I was supposed to upload it, nearly 3 weeks ago, so I don't honestly remember exactly what was going on. We're buying an engine power upgrade, which we won't get into after the French Grand Prix, which we will be doing now. Yes, I will be hopefully going on after the recording of this video. I'm not going to be continuing with the 50% races though, because I think that was part of the contributing factor to me just burning out. Maybe if we get a bit more successful later on in the season, then we'll consider it. But for the time being, we're going to go back to 25% races and not so much stick to a schedule for uploading either, because I think that again was contributing to a burnout, and we're not really that big of a channel anyway, so I mean, who cares? We'll just upload when it suits, and I'm sure if people really come here because they enjoy the content, then they will stick around and watch it for that. Anyway, we're on to the practice actually going on in the background. I think I accidentally tried to buy a gearbox reduction upgrade. Now, of course, this is a sprint race weekend for the first time on the channel, so we actually don't get all 3 practice sessions back to back. So we head into sprint qualifying, and we don't place too badly there, up at P11. We're ahead of the Williams and the Haas on our first lap, and we come around. We're going to try again to see if we can get through into Q2, and well, there we go, put it into the top 10, and as per usual with F122, as soon as we exit out of the lobby, or out of the game I should say, we come out 19th, 20th, sorry. Incredible. Okay, so qualifying for the sprint didn't go too well, so let's head over to quick practice again and try and pick up some more resource points. We'll start off with the fuel usage resource points. I don't want that gearbox. Gonna have to commit to one of these longer ones. Rear downforce, that's exactly the sort of thing that we need. Followed by some more resource points, of course, always welcome. Any ERS, yes, of course, we do want that as well. That leaves us 2 minutes to try and get hold of something in here. Unfortunately, there's nothing that we can get, so we're just going to have to end things there. And it looks as though Teo Pourchaire, again, not really pulling his weight in terms of resource points. I guess he's just not as good of a driver as I hoped he would be. Maybe with some upgrades to the facilities he might be a little bit better, but for the time being we're just going to have to deal with him being a bit subpar and having to do all of the work ourselves. Anyway, at least we got some discounts at least for some of the parts. And of course it looks as though we're actually going to level up to level 10 as well, so we'll be able to pick up a second sponsor at the end of this race. Exciting times. So before we head into the race, I'm actually going to try and pick up some upgrades, and I think Venturi tunnels might be good to get that rear end a little bit more stable. And we've got 300 left over. I wonder if we can scoop up a good deal. Can't get the roll dampeners. Nothing from there. Oh, we might as well get this improved materials just to see that we've got something. I'll unlock some more of the durability upgrades later down the line. Alright, time to get on with this sprint race. Well, thanks to Past Me there for just taking over the second part of practice and our next set of upgrades. But we move on to the sprint race for the first time on the channel in round 7 in Austria, with the turn of the graphics in the background. Oh my god, I remember how much I love making those. Yes, and we've got flying track names, of course. as well, making the intros look that bit more interesting. But anyway, what will be interesting will be this sprint race. Now, if memory recalls correctly, it's going to be an interesting one, so buckle up and get ready for it. We're going to start off with Charles Leclerc and George Russell in the Ferrari and the Mercedes on the front row to kick things off, followed by Max Verstappen and then Lewis Hamilton in the other Mercedes. Then we have Carlos Sainz alongside Sergio Perez in the other Ferrari and Red Bull, the top 4 teams locking out the top 6 as usual. Then we have Lando Norris and Kevin Magnussen lining up on the penultimate row of the top 10, followed by Valtteri Bottas and Mick Schumacher. Behind them, running out into the outside the top 10, we have Esteban Ocon alongside Fernando Alonso. Following them, we have Daniel Ricciardo in the other McLaren. Very poor performance from him. He's alongside Sebastian Vettel. Then we have Pierre Gasly in the first AlphaTauri. He's alongside Lance Stroll, followed by the other AlphaTauri of Yuki Tsunoda and the Williams of Alex Albon. Then we have Zhou Guanyu and us starting on the penultimate row of the grid, followed finally by Nicholas Latifi and Théo Pourchaire. Well, here we go. We're actually starting on board for this one, just because this video was kind of made over the course of 3 weeks here and there, so I don't have all the footage that I would usually have at my disposal. As we come into turn 1 though, very, very amateurish as we go through there, bumping wheels with several other cars, but we have actually managed to get up a position over Zhou Guanyu as our teammate goes to the inside on this very damp circuit. Up ahead, we've got several cars bouncing all over the place. I think I just saw some contact there. Up ahead, we've hit the Williams again, but he's actually helped us rotate the car around. We've got a little warning there for a collision with Albon as our teammate goes down the outside, down towards the hairpin. Alex Albon goes to cover us up the inside. He has hit Yuki Tsunoda violently there as he goes through the hairpin. We are still ahead of our teammate though as we come down towards the sweeping left-hander. He's still alongside us. We might have to give up this position, but no, we've actually managed to block his line. Nearly throw the car into the shadow realm there as we go onto the curb. But we managed to hold it together just about for this 12-lap sprint race. Behind us, though, Nicholas Latifi and Zhou Guanyu as we rejoin on lap 3. Théo Pourchaire still harassing the back of our car. But, of course, if you have noticed, the rain has begun to slow down and stop. And somehow I've gone incredibly slowly on that lap. So at this point, I've decided now is the time for the softs. See if we can get to the end of the race and actually, potentially, screw over some of our competitors there as we get through the rest of the sprint. Whether or not that will help us in the long run, I don't know. For some reason, I decided that I was going to box that lap and then didn't, and we've just lost a ton of time to Zhou Guanyu there. For whatever reason, we're going incredibly slowly. I don't know if there was an issue on the car at this point. But, yeah, we're not exactly going for it. As we get a retirement there for Zhou Guanyu behind us, who's brought out the yellow flags. This may be a good time to come into the pits, Dan, if you're expecting a safety car. Yes, there we go. We're going in. Good job past me for doing that. Into the pit lane we go. Massive lock up there as we attempt to slow the car down and completely forget that the speed limit is 49 miles an hour. But here we go for the turn-in, something that we got very right. By the way, if you were a fan of the Carp Career, which came out on the previous... Oh, issue with the rear left there. Well, that's really going to affect our race, isn't it, being last. But yes, the Carp Career. I did actually record half of a season with Nick. It's not going to be the same format as before with both of us commentated, but it may be uploaded. I'm only going to upload it, though, if we actually finish the season. We've only got as far as about halfway, and we're messing around in the Hasses. They were awful to drive as well. But, yes, if we do manage to finish that season, it will be edited and uploaded as long as we can get to the end, though. I don't really want to get into the situation like we had before, where I had half a season and I was about to start editing and uploading it. And then we didn't use, we didn't finish the season, so we couldn't finish the playlist on YouTube. Not the biggest deal, but anyway, now that I've finished babbling on, it looks as though some more cars have decided that, yes, it is in fact not raining anymore, and they're coming into the pits. That includes Théo Pourchaire and Sebastian Vettel, the next two cars to come in. But it looks as though, given that our issue with the rear left and the fact that we are incredibly slow, we've actually lost a significant amount of time to them, and we remain in P20 at the back of the grid. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Just what you want to see. Up ahead, Ferrari running away with it, followed by Ferrari. And as we rejoin, it looks as though we're on lap 10 now, about to go to lap 11. We've got several cars that have come into the pits, others that have not. We've got a Ferrari going slow at the end of the straight. Charles Leclerc has DNF'd in the sprint race, and there's an Alpine running in second place. We don't know who it is. There's another yellow flag up ahead. Someone else has just broken down. Who's that? There's Nicholas Latifi in front of us. Is it the other Williams? No, I think someone just had a crash. That might have been our teammate. But this is incredible. We're up into P20. Max Verstappen has come into the pits and is behind us. What on earth has gone on there? The Red Bull strategy gone down the drain, it seems. Up ahead, our teammates in a desperate battle with the other Williams, probably overtaken under yellow flags, because that is what the dirty AI like to do on this game. Absolutely filthy racing, if you ask me. We get past Charles Leclerc, we're up into P19, which admittedly is where we started the sprint race, but now we're going to have to suffer through, hopefully, the whole Grand Prix with a Red Bull and a Ferrari behind us, and an Alfa Romeo with Zhou Guanyu. But we've still got another lap to try and get past Nicholas Latifi and also keep Max Verstappen behind us. It would appear as though there's a Haas in third, looking at the track map there, who is challenging for second place. So we're going to see a Haas podium by the end of this sprint race. What an incredible result that would be. Max Verstappen rather worryingly sets the fastest lap behind us as we nearly go into the rear anal cavity of Nicholas Latifi. Into turn 1. He is still faster than us in a straight line, even though we've got DRS, and we've nearly run out of deployment, so we may not have the opportunity to get past him, unless we really ace this exit. No, it would appear that we did not. So, there we go then. It looks as though the Haas has stopped its challenge on the Mercedes and is about to be overtaken by Ferrari. But they have only got 2 corners to go. There's an Alpha Tauri up there in the top 10 as well. There's an Aston Martin causing a massive crash at some point there before the final 2 corners. He's being overtaken by someone. Maybe they cause a massive accident and give us a few more positions. Who knows? Anyway, Nicholas Latifi gets a little bit rough coming out of the corners. Max Verstappen now challenging us for the for P18 of this sprint race. It's absolutely worth nothing, but he is trying his best. But unfortunately for him, he has not done very well there, and he will have to finish behind us for the end of that race. Well, that was interesting for our first sprint race. We'll get on to the race results in just a second, after driver of the day goes to Pierre Gasly. And here we are with the final results. And it is Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton and Kevin Magnussen who take the lead in the after the end of the sprint race, followed by everyone else in the order that you can see. Well, here we go, running through the same graphics yet again, but we will of course have a different grid order as we go into the proper Austrian Grand Prix. Not a great result, of course, for Max Verstappen, who would have been hoping to take home the first place trophy at the end of that race. Looks as though Charles Leclerc's hopes may have also been dashed slightly, which will, of course, give the advantage over to Carlos Sainz, who may or may not be leading the championship at this point. I just didn't have the foresight to go and have a look to see what was going on. So anyway, we're just going to have to live with the fact that we don't know and get on with the starting grid, where 4-time champion Fernando Alonso lines up alongside Lewis Hamilton, followed by Kevin Magnussen in the Haas, and then our potential championship leader, Carlos Sainz. Then we have George Russell, who didn't suffer too badly there from the sprint race. He's alongside Pierre Gasly, followed by Lando Norris and Sergio Perez. Really going mixed bags across the field here today. Lance Stroll and Esteban Ocon make up several positions. They're up into the top 10. Then we have Mick Schumacher starting pretty much where he was before. He's alongside Daniel Ricciardo. Behind them we have Sebastian Vettel and our teammate Théo Pourchaire, who moves up into 14th. Then we have Nicholas Latifi and ourselves quite a considerable way up from where we started and I believe finished. So we're followed by Max Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas. Then behind us and them, we have Yuki Tsunoda and Alex Albon. And then right at the back, we have Charles Leclerc and Zhou Guanyu. So there must have been a couple of penalties that I wasn't quite aware of. Exiting the sprint race, as well as the DNFs. But anyway, we get away. Fernando Alonso in an Alpine will lead the race away as we drop backwards instantly at the start and try to regain some positions on the Williams and our teammate there as we come flying up the hill. Lewis Hamilton going for a move on the 4-time world champion in the Alpine. We've actually managed to retain 16th place, but we're now going to have to challenge our teammate as we go uphill towards the top of the hill as we go up the inside of several cars there. We potentially made contact with Daniel Ricciardo to make our way up into P13 as we rejoin the action on board from the eyes of the team cam. Daniel Ricciardo going alongside us onto the outside, but we're going to hold the inside line down into the hairpin there and just eke ahead of him in this car, which is definitely a lot slower than he is. Up ahead, we've got the two Aston Martins. We know that they are fairly close to us in development. That is probably the only thing that I can remember from this series, other than Williams being very bad as well. As Daniel Ricciardo now goes for an aggressive move down the inside as we're going to hit the brakes. Oh, and the Aston Martins nearly come together there. We've seen it happen so many times on the channel. We've got someone coming into the pit lane. I believe it is Lance Stroll. Of course it's Lance Stroll. We just saw him go into the pit lane entry. Yes. Sebastian Vettel potentially nearly causing a massive accident as a safety car as Lando Norris just crashed into the side of Esteban Ocon there as we get a great run on Sebastian Vettel up the hill, but our top speed is going to limit us. Maybe the two in front of us can get in the way of Sebastian Vettel as we make a look down the inside, but we're not going to commit to it. Sebastian Vettel still on the outside of us. We're going to have to give him some room, but no, we have managed to break away from him. Perhaps we are finally seeing an end to our pointless races as we see the Alpine take a very interesting line there around the outside of the hairpin, allows Norris to get back through. It doesn't look as though we're going to retain our success from the British Grand Prix. Not entirely sure why we were so fast there, but at least around here we're not too uncompetitive. Almost into the top 10 now. Théo Pourchaire, our teammate, quite a considerable way down with a sea of red behind him. As we come into the penultimate corner, Daniel Ricciardo is having a look. It is all, and it's not even Daniel Ricciardo, it is Sebastian Vettel, who I forgot that we overtook just moments ago. Interesting call there from not Jeff on the radio. That is Théo Pourchaire, our teammate, has come into the pit lane as I clout the curb of the turn 1. I don't believe I'm doing anything to help the car there, and potentially will lead to some damage later on by doing that. But at least we can stay within DRS range of Esteban Ocon and perhaps just glimpse at a singular point for the end of this race to make it a first back-to-back point finish. Very ambitious for the season that we're having so far, but potentially we can do it. We've got France up next. We're probably going to suffer there. Pretty much after I finish editing this video, I think I'll do that race. I'm probably going to end up gouging my own eyes out by the end of it. But up ahead, one of the things that we've noticed over this season so far, as Lando Norris crashes into a second car, is that cars up ahead of us that are fighting can really provide an opportunity. And we go down the inside of all three of them here. Lando Norris hits us again. That disgusting driver so far today is Lando Norris, as we go down the inside and give everyone else a taste of Lando Norris's medicine. Lose the rear on exit, and we actually gain absolutely nothing from that. And we're still outside of the points behind Pierre Gasly now, who seems to be suffering here at the Red Bull Ring, which is technically a home Grand Prix for him, given that the team is owned by Red Bull. As we follow on, Lando Norris has finally cleared all of the cars that he has the potential to crash into. So at least we're safe being back here. Pierre Gasly out of sorts, but he's still much faster in a straight line. The AlphaTauri is a car that we are nowhere near in development. We haven't got a chance at getting past this guy unless he has got a technical problem that we can use to our advantage. And of course we've got the DRS and the ERS as we go to the outside into turn 1. go around the outside of our championship rival Jam Pancakes. Gasly, Pierre Gasly there, accidentally quoting the old meme as we go up the hill with the DRS. Unfortunately, though, it's slightly outside, maybe. There, no, we did get it on Esteban Ocon again, so we're not going to suffer too badly. Anyway, continuing on to lap 7. We're still in the top 10. We've managed to clear Gasly, but now Max Verstappen is coming up from behind to ruin our race. I've just noticed down at the track map that Fernando Alonso is still leading the race by quite a margin. As Esteban Ocon blows up in front of us, he expels toxic radiation and gas from the back of his car, attempting to give us multiple forms of lung disease, but we have managed to escape it, and Esteban Ocon is another retiree from the Austrian Grand Prix and sprint race. As we cut away there, Carlos Sainz is actually in the pits. We're still ahead of Max Verstappen as we descend onto lap 9, approaching the 1/3 distance. So far, pretty horrible race, fighting as hard as possible. Now we have to deal with a Red Bull, which goes up the inside of us. But we are going to challenge him. We are not going to say that you can have this position, Max Verstappen, because we may be the slowest car on the grid on paper and in practice. But you are in a wounded Red Bull, probably, and we are going to take this opportunity to actually race a fast car, and we get the run on him down here into the double left-hander. Around the outside we go, masterful move until we start to lose the rear end, and now Verstappen is really angry. He's going to weave all over the back of us now and start shouting horrible things out of his cockpit. There he goes, he almost hit us. As we come down towards the pit lane, and we've managed to mug him off again down the inside. Max Verstappen is absolutely raging in his cockpit right now. He can't believe what's going on. His Red Bull cannot get past the slowest car on the grid. We're losing absolute fistfuls of time to Lando Norris up ahead, although he was much faster, let's be fair. So that was going to happen anyway, and now we approach round 2 of versus Verstappen. Up the hill in DRS zone number 1, we managed to escape the wrath of his unrestricted rage, I guess is the best way to describe it. Although, is he going to make a move now into the hairpin? He's getting close, but no cigar on this occasion, nor any attempt to stick his wing alongside us, nor crash into us. That's something we might have to watch out for should Lando Norris slow down a little bit, as I just noticed up ahead that Fernando Alonso has now lost the lead to one of the Mercedes who seem to be dominating this race. As we go down towards the pit lane, we position our car right in the way of Max Verstappen, but he has got round the outside into the penultimate corner. Can we mug him off again? It appears not. We're going to have to try and get the DRS on him. In theory, this should not be possible, but it might just work if we empty the entire battery. We've got a great run out of turn 1. Oh, we might do it. We're going to go to the outside, but he's still faster. He's not fighting it. He says he's had enough. But now on the brakes we go alongside Max Verstappen. We give him some room. We get the cut back on him. The Red Bull really struggling for grip. We got DRS again, tucking into the slipstream, down towards the hairpin we go. We go to the outside again, onto the brakes, and the Red Bull outbrakes us, and we can't go for the cutback because he's in the way, but he does swerve at us for no reason at all. We're alongside him now as we come down towards the double left-hander. We do underbrake there. He's hit us. Max Verstappen is cheated, knowing that he can't get past the slowest car on the grid. Daniel Ricciardo's caught up as well. That's actually quite unbelievable that he's done that. Max Verstappen, though, disgusting display, hitting the slowest car on the grid because he couldn't get past it. Absolutely unbelievable. The stewards have confirmed they will not be reviewing that, which is disgraceful from the sport. And now we are left to the clutches of Daniel Ricciardo. We're still going to score points if we finish where we are, or if Ricciardo overtakes us. But you never know what happens in Formula 1, and given the fact that we're literally at 1/3 distance now, there can't be There just can't be any way you can safely say that we are going to score points again, which is tragic, to be honest. It looks as though there is a Ferrari making headway, but there's also another one at the back of the grid, which does raise some eyebrows. How did I not see that before? Yes, it would appear as though Charles Leclerc was in the pits, or has come into the pits. Who was at the back? He's apparently been ahead of us. I don't know if have we come in? No, we haven't, but we got Lewis Hamilton coming up, trying to get past us now. Down the inside, we're on different strategies. Well, we're on the same strategy, everyone is in this game, but we're in different races as we make an absolute dog's breakfast of trying to get past him, or back past him, trying to upset the result of the Austrian Grand Prix as Fernando Alonso absolutely applauds our efforts at getting in Hamilton's way. Hamilton will now try the same move as Max Verstappen around the outside. He does not hit us. I guess that he is a much better sport than Max Verstappen, but he is going to go around the outside here towards the pit lane entrance. We are going to move over to the right-hand side and allow Fernando Alonso through, and we're going to come into the pits, and hopefully he doesn't hit us and cause a safety car. Yes, he would have done had I not been a little bit proactive there in hitting the brakes before the corner. So Fernando, thank you for not hitting me. I've cocked up the pit lane entrance again, but either way, we're not very good in this car anyway, so we're probably going to lose a heap of time taking this pit stop. Hopefully no mistakes. Yes, optimal turn in, and a great result for the team there as we get that pit stop done. Unfortunately though, some things have happened. Apparently Daniel Ricciardo has had an absolutely amazing time out on track, as has Charles Leclerc, who has overtaken us as well. They're all stuck behind what would appear to be Max Verstappen as we struggle on the cold tyres. Behind us now, Sebastian Vettel, a man that we were competing with at the start of the race, and based on the fact that we're now on the final lap of the Grand Prix, watching from above as we complete the final few corners, it would appear as though absolutely nothing else has happened. Another reason why I would love to switch back to 25% races, because at least if there was nothing going on, it wasn't going to last too long and torture me indefinitely. Unlike this race, which took absolutely forever and was torture to do. But anyway, we come round the penultimate corner. Sebastian Vettel clearly was not fast enough to catch us. As we come round, we're going to cross the line. We're going to have a massive accident there. We might hit Sebastian Vettel or one of the Alfa Romeos as we come back onto the track. No, we don't. But it's P12. I mean, it's a good result compared to where we were at the start of the season as we literally hit the wall in front of the grandstand there. An embarrassing action to do on what is literally the end of the race. And, wow, yes. No cars flying into the back of the grid on this occasion. But yes, P12, not too bad, I would say. Considering that only 3 or 4 races ago we were finishing consistently at the back, not able to overtake anybody, not able to get past a Williams when we had DRS and overtake on. We are improving. That engine upgrade that you saw that we are going to be getting, hopefully after the French Grand Prix, will give us a massive boost, especially for this Renault engine, which we are finding out very quickly in this season is a pile of trash. But anyway, onto the podium, and it is Lewis Hamilton who robbed Fernando Alonso of the top spot, and Fernando Alonso appears to have absolutely screwed up every aspect of finishing P2, because he's not even on the podium somehow. We'll find out where he actually finished in just a moment's time. Hopefully he didn't have a penalty, or maybe he did, and that was why there was a Ferrari at the back. Anyway, let's get on with the final results. Anyway, as we get on to the final results, we do get to see what is the wrong results for the race. This is actually the combined results for the weekend, but we can see that Fernando Alonso did pick up P4. So I guess the other winners for the weekend was Sergio Perez, who picked up the final spot at the podium. Then we have Carlos Sainz, Kevin Magnussen, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly and Mick Schumacher all scoring points across the 2 races. Over in the Drivers' Championship, that poor result from Charles Leclerc there does mean that Carlos Sainz retains his place at the top of the table, but now he's ahead of Lewis Hamilton. George Russell sits in P4 ahead of the 2 Red Bulls of Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Then we have Fernando Alonso in P7, followed by Kevin Magnussen in the Haas, Lando Norris in the McLaren, and Valtteri Bottas and Esteban Ocon tied on 18th in 10th. Behind them, we have a battle for P12 with Radiant Slothz and Pierre Gasly, just ahead of Mick Schumacher by a singular point. Then it's a big leap back to Daniel Ricciardo on 2 points ahead of Sebastian Vettel and Yuki Tsunoda, the final point scorers. Then we have Joe Guan Yu, Alex Albon, Lance Stroll, Nicolas Latifi and Terry Pourchaire rounding out the standings. And finally, it's over to the Constructors' Championship as we see Ferrari just escaping a narrow lead there ahead of rivals Mercedes. Then it's a jump back to Red Bull in 3rd, then Alpine, Haas, McLaren, Alfa Romeo, Alfa Tauri, Slothz, Aston Martin and Williams. That's all for now. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.